And here is the man himself, just off the plane from Paris. We've also got the Sky Sports News reporter, Orla Chenouet, who's been with him pretty much every step of the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What an achievement. And obviously, you can never have an easy Tour de France. But looking back, how tough was this tour for you?
It really was tough. I mean, even right up until the last stage, even though I had a 4-minute advantage coming into the last couple Alpine stages, it still felt as if any one of those stages, it could go either way. And I think just how unpredictable the Tour de France is. I mean, one second I was there, I had my 4-minute advantage, everything seemed to be going on track, and next second I was on the ground scrambling for a bike, and yeah, I mean that's the nature of the sport, and even with an advantage of 4 minutes, things could have gone the other way very quickly.
Well, let's talk about that incident, and Orla, you were there, of course, but it was absolutely excruciating to watch when you fell off, your bike was broken, and then you got on the second bike, and just watching you try and pedal that. So what was going through your mind at that time? It
was absolute chaos up there. It was, I mean, obviously the natural instinct was to get back on the bike and go again, but the motorbike behind us had ploughed into the back of us as well, and had broken my bike basically. So my bike was useless, and I just thought, I'm about a kilometre from the finish. I know our car with my spare bike is a while behind us here. Mm-hmm. I've got to get myself as close to that finish line as possible. I'm just going to run. I'm just going to head for this finish line, and hopefully the car will catch me up, and I'll have covered at least a good amount of distance before they do so.
You must have been absolutely frustrated when you got on the second bike, and then you were trying to pedal. What was happening there?
So that bike had come from the neutral service vehicle that had been following the race, so not from our team. And that bike could have been a kid's bike actually, with different pedals that weren't compatible with the shoes that I had. So it was almost comical. At the time, obviously, it wasn't very funny.
No,
but
we weren't laughing.
No, but looking back now, I mean, yeah, it does just. It was just a sequence of comical events. But eventually, then the team car did catch up, and I was able to swap back onto my own bike and finish the stage.
Okay. Chris, one of the other memorable moments of the Tour for you was stage 8, that remarkable descent and the now infamous almost descending style when you went in the attack. Many of your competitors weren't expecting that. How much had you worked on that?
That really was a spur of the moment decision. It wasn't something I'd planned coming into that stage, or it really, I just saw the opportunity as we were coming to the top of the climb. The guys looked as if they were just happy in the group, and I just thought, well, if I go for it here, what's the worst that could happen? They'll come after me and catch me, and I will have given it a good go. But when I went for it and I saw that gap open up quickly to 10, 15, 20 seconds, I thought, I've got a real chance here. I could make it to the finish, and it did just feel like proper boy racing again. It was just riding a bike and trying to go down the hills as fast as I could. It was an amazing feeling.
So it was great to watch about it as well. And it's interesting you say about it being the feeling of a boy on his bike again, because for any boy watching the Tour de France, winning the Tour is a childhood dream. Winning 3 is unimaginable to almost every rider in history. Have you managed to get your head around the scale of what you have achieved?
I think it's pretty hard to really get a sense of it. I mean, it feels as if we're in this little bubble that is the Tour de France, and it's what we do obviously every day of our lives. We're riding our bikes 5-6 hours a day, training for an event like that. So it's pretty hard to really take it all in. But I mean, obviously now, day after having won the 3rd time, it is starting to sink in a little bit, and it's just such an amazing feeling of accomplishment, and just knowing how hard the support team, my teammates, we've worked for months with one goal on our minds, and to actually to have pulled it off and got to Paris in the yellow jersey, it's such a special feeling.
You always give such due credit to your team. Sir Dave Brailsford has spoken in the past about wanting to create the greatest sporting team in the world, not just cycling team, the greatest sporting team. How far along that road do you think Team Sky are right now?
I'd have to say we're not far off. We're not far off. One of the things that made this year's Tour de France so special for me was that not only did we obviously go and win the race, but just the way that we did it. We actually had fun along the way. The group of 9 of us, all 9 of us made it through the 3 weeks. It's the first time we've got to Paris with all 9 guys still there, not having crashed out or got ill or injured or anything like that. But that we actually had fun along the way. As a group, we gelled really well, and everyone just got stuck in, and we're all there with a common goal.
Chris, let's talk about the next 2 weeks, because you're going to be in Rio very soon, and that's just physically such a huge challenge. Was there ever a time where you thought or said, listen, I can either do the Tour or I can do the Olympics, I can't do both?
No, that didn't cross my mind. I mean, Rio, the Olympics only comes around once every 4 years, and to have the chance to obviously represent Britain in what's going to be an amazing race. It's also a race which is very hilly, very challenging, and to have this kind of an opportunity, that doesn't come around very often at all. So it's been a big goal since we saw the route out in Rio, and hopefully we're going to go out there and be as competitive as possible.
What sort of things are you doing to recover?
Well, I think the biggest thing right now is to have a few days at home, and just switch off mentally. I think from the whole hype around the Tour de France and everything. I think that's probably the biggest part of recovery, and at least go into Rio fresh and ready for the next challenge.
Now, we can't really talk about Rio without looking at this ruling by the IOC. What did you feel about them not handing Russia a blanket ban?
I can't say I followed it that closely. I've only just heard the headlines, but I mean, at the end of the day, everyone wants to see a clean, fair competition, and for whichever way it goes, I mean, surely there would be Russian athletes who are competing clean, and you wouldn't want to see them banned either. So it's a decision for the IOC, obviously, and I just hope they make the right decision for the interests of fair sport.
Okay, let's talk about your inspiration now, because you have had a little son recently. So when you're going, obviously when you're in this sort of a race, it's such a physical challenge, but where does it become a mental challenge, and what do you draw on then to get you through those extremely tough times? What are you telling yourself?
Definitely, I mean, there's only a certain limit that you can go to, I think, physically, where you're just pushing as hard as you can go, but you almost get to this point where anything beyond that just becomes mental. You against your rivals, and you have to push yourself that little bit harder than everyone else. And certainly that's where you dig into the reserves of what really motivates you. And for me this year, my son Kellen has been a huge motivation. I want him to grow up and be proud of his old man, and to look back on these images from this year. Obviously he's too young now to really understand or anything like that, but I'd love him to look back in 10 years' time and to be proud of his old man.
Chris, you've already become just the 8th man in history to win the Tour 3 times or more, but already people are talking about the next magic number, 5. No one has officially, at least, won the Tour de France more than 5 times. You know how much it takes in terms of personal sacrifice, hard work, sheer luck to win a Tour de France. Do you think it's a realistic ambition for you to go on and win perhaps another 2 Tour de France's? Is that unfair on you right now here this morning?
It would just be, yeah, it's a bit early to be talking about 5, but yeah, I mean, I'm really, every time I get to the end of the Tour de France, I'm already thinking about coming back and fighting for it again the next year. I mean, just rolling onto the Champs-Élysées yesterday, I thought I can't wait to do this again next year. I enjoy it so much, and especially in the team that we've got around us, I'd love to answer your question.
It's interesting you say that you're already looking ahead to next year. That's exactly what Sir Dave Brailsford said to me yesterday when he arrived back at the team buses. What is it about Sir Brailsford's style, do you think, that's made Team Sky so successful? Apart from your talent, Sir Bradley Wiggins' talent, what is it about him that has made Team Sky so successful?
I think just as a manager, he's been really successful at choosing and selecting the right kind of people, I think, to work on this project. I think by far, I mean, it's one thing having the cool bus and the bikes and all the equipment and the gadgets and everything, but at the end of the day, it's about having that group of people who really are driven to one goal, and when you've got 9 bike riders plus 30, 40 staff on the road who are all thinking and acting in the same way, you're going to put yourself in a much better situation, obviously, to win a race like the Tour de France. And yeah, I'm extremely grateful to be part of that.
Chris, I want to ask you, you're in this elite club now. Everyone knows who you are, but whenever I speak to people who know you or who've interviewed you, they always speak of you as such a grounded individual. How do you not just buy into the hype, and how do you keep so grounded?
Good question. I think it's probably my family that bring me back. If I do start getting a bit carried away, I'm sure my wife would set me straight pretty quickly.
Okay, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.